How you going, people? I think I might make this a crazy Air Force story. I'll put a little stain on this AK grips, and I probably should let them dry more. They feel kind of dry. I mean, they've been out here in 90-degree heat for I don't know how long. So I'm thinking they're dry enough. So I'm just going to put a little coat of this hell, I don't know what to call it. Lacquer, polyurethane, whatever. So anyway, I figured I would do while I'm doing this project, man, it's kind of shady outside. It's overcast, it's 91 degrees, but it looks like it wants to rain. I'm like hoping it's going to rain. So let me put a little coat on this, and then I will after I put this little coat on this grip, all right. Good enough. So we'll let that coat dry on there for a little bit, and then I'll put a couple more coats just to protect that a little bit. Put a little sheen on it. When you buy an AK, usually the wood is very untreated. Some people like the natural kind of, but to me it stains, it collects oils, it's getting some sort of coating on it to me just makes it a little bit more protected. But anyway, I digress. Let me get back to my Smokey's laying over here. I don't know if you guys can see Smokey. I gotta go get some hay. Can y'all see Smokey hiding back there? Say hi, YouTubies! I see you hiding. I see a little Smokey hiding in this corner. So I'm talking to this gun buddy of mine, and he was Air Force. He was a fighter pilot, and in the Air Force, the fighter pilots. Let me move this so I don't lean into it. The fighter pilots were kind of like my kind of guys. A lot of the pilots who flew the bigger planes, they were a little higher in rank. They were a little bit more reserved. They were not what I would call the meat eater guys type. They were a little bit more Weasley officer types. So this guy who's a gun guy, pro Second Amendment, pro come and take it, don't tread on, just a really good guy. And so we're BSing about, and you know, in the Air Force, people go, man, how can you be in the Air Force and not like to fly? Man, I'm telling you, the Air Force has so many accidents and problems with planes in the air, and just little things. I mean, each screw has to be torqued, and if a guy's having a bad day or eating a sandwich and he's not paying attention or he's pissed off at his boss, he torques his screw wrong, and that one screw can just set up a damn chain reaction, take a damn plane down. So there was one incident I remember, 2 or 3, and then I'll get to the story where this guy just shared with me what I thought was pretty funny. And he crashed a plane before. But anyway, so there was one incident to where this pilot was kind of known to kind of take chances in the Air Force, and because he was a good pilot, nobody kind of called him on it. And anybody, it's kind of like on a range, anybody can call ceasefire. Well, anybody in a plane, there goes Buddy walking by. Hi, buddy boy. Anybody in a plane can identify. Hi, Mr. T. My boys are coming out to say hi. So anybody in a plane can identify a safety issue and go, you know, this is wrong. The pilot has the ultimate responsibility, but the pilot can be overridden, like by the engineer or the co-pilot, if he thinks it's a safety hazard. So when a plane takes off in the military, there's all kind of I'm a big checklist guy. the military, I don't know if all branches serve it. The Air Force is huge in a checklist. And as a cop, I was always in a checklist. Anytime I did a search warrant, I made me a little checklist to make it easier so I wouldn't forget something next time. And every time I forgot something, I'd add it to my little search warrant checklist. And I'd make a template for a search warrant. I'd make a template for this, and responding to a chemical spill, I'd have a little checklist. So I'm a big checklist guy because I just think they minimize mistakes when you're working in rapidly changing emergency environments. A checklist is a great thing. I mean, I have a checklist for freaking winter, so I won't forget to put an end cap on one of my nozzles. I've got a checklist: cover this, check this, turn on the heat tape on the pump, cover the faucets, make sure. So, engines, etc. So I've got checklists. I like little checklists. So this pilot took off, was doing something. The plane lost lift. He lost an engine. And I think Air Force, when they calculate and weigh all that, they can pretty much take off if they lose half their engines. They can continue to take off. Oh shit, I got my glass on here. I'd have took him out. Damn, dirt dauber's in here building shit. So, I'll take my glasses off. He comes by again. He's eating it. So the plane's taking off, and he loses engines, loses lift, and instead of dealing with the problem, he kind of goes back and says, no, we're landing a plane. We're turning around for emergency landing. Well, he didn't have the lift. He didn't have the power. They ended up crashing the plane. And when I say crash, I think they ended up with a hard landing. A lot of people got hurt. Didn't kill anybody. But my buddy, who was an engineer, was like, totally avoidable. It was total BS. He shouldn't have. The engineer, the co-pilot, should have overridden him and said, no. The checklist says when we lose an engine, we continue to climb, we continue to maintain altitude, speed, blah, 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 and we work the problem before we immediately turn around. But he panicked, turned around, and anybody that knows planes, when you're losing lift, you probably don't want to turn because you're going to lose more lift. So that was just one incident, and I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been on planes. We had to make emergency landings, smoking brakes, engine failure, warning light, fluid low. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times everybody buckle in, we're making an emergency landing. I'm like, shit, I hate flying. So, shit happens. Remember, the Air Force flies a lot, so you're going to have flying problems. In the Navy, you got a lot of drowning problems. I mean, I don't even think they report on the aircraft carriers. They got, 5,000 people on an aircraft carrier. I think they have to lose like 3 or 4 people before they even have to report it up to anybody that really cares. It's kind of like, hey, it's kind of part of boarding business. If you go up there goofing around and fall off the top of that aircraft carrier, you're done. So, good luck. We're not turning around. We're not stopping. You're kind of toast. They assume you're dead. And maybe that's changed, but, and somebody in the Navy may go, oh, that's not true. Whatever. I'm just telling you, Navy guys that I talk to, that's what they say. Air Force, hey, planes get shot down, planes malfunction, planes crash. Not that big of a deal. You don't hear about it every day or every time. So I'm talking to this guy at the gun shop, and he's talking. They were flying these two-seater planes, and because when you're in training for a pilot, the instructor sits behind you, and the new pilot sits in front. So the guy behind you can kind of control things, but he's with you, but you've got the front power seat and you're doing everything, and he's behind you if you get in a jam. And there's a little screen, a plastic shield between the two of them. So he said, they're flying along, and this isn't him, this is his buddy, but I mean, I can't remember if he said someone died or not. I think they crashed on this one, nobody died. So they're cruising along this little plane, and remember now, when you're flying, if you're going, I don't know, 500 knots or something, I think it equates to maybe 700 to 800 feet per second. I mean, imagine a bullet coming at you. If you ever watch a bullet fly, it's fast. So if you see something, another plane or something, you got to be ready to move, because when you see it, it's going to get past you. I mean, it's fast. So, I mean, it's almost like somebody firing a bullet at you. When you see something, imagine somebody firing a bullet, now you got to dodge the bullet or remove the obstacle. So he says the guy in the front looks up, and see something and didn't know what it was. And by the time he figured out it was a seagull, he couldn't even get the word "sea" out, and it hit the bubble, went through. As it went through the shield on his screen, it hit the wing, the leg, something hit the side of his face, and it took off his microphone, because they're talking, you know, with little microphones. Well, it took that off, so he couldn't hear. So he's trying to explain what happened. The pilot, the instructor, this is the training pilot in the front that hit a bird. The training pilot behind him, all he knows is he sees blood and guts and everything all over the screen between him and the other pilot. And he's trying to find out what's going on. What's going on? Answer me. Are you okay? He don't know if it's his head, if he was shot, if something blew up in a plane and those are the guy's brains. And he doesn't know what happened. So what does he do? That poor pilot. The instructor reaches down and ejects. When you eject, it's either from here or here. So he reaches down to his legs, pulls it, ejects, and the pilot up front is like, what the hell? My training instructor just freaking ejected. I hit a bird and he just bailed on me. So now he's got to land and do everything by himself. He doesn't have communication. It worked out okay. I think he made it okay. And the pilot that ejected landed okay. And I mean, shit happens. Nobody faulted either one of them. Sometimes things that happen. There was another one where when you're in those two-seater planes, when the front guy pulls his eject, it kind of has like an automatic protector thing that the back guy has to eject first. Because if you both eject at the same time, you'll run into each other. If he ejects before you, he'll burn you up. If you start coming out, the jets from his thing shooting up will burn up the guy in front. So when the front guy ejects, the back guy goes first, and then there's a delay, and then you go. So there's a few second delay. Well, what happened on that one? The plane went in for some sort of test or malfunction, and when they were working on it, I guess they had some high pressure lines that met in 5 or 6, 8 places, and they capped a couple of them off, part of the ejection system, and they left a cap on. And that's why you use checklists. Going back to my checklist. On checklists, it tells you, here's how you take it apart, here's how you pull it together. And you go right down the line. And one of the checklists probably was, ensure the hose is reconnected to line so-and-so, and make sure no caps of any lines, whatever. Whatever the checklist was, they skipped the checklist, and they left one of the things capped. So when the guy in the front pulled, the guy in the back either ejected and his didn't work, or the guy in the back didn't eject, and he was like, why didn't that eject? And all of a sudden he went out. And the other guy was stuck. He was kind of pulling, and he couldn't eject because his line to his seat was capped. And I think he died. They couldn't get out. But, you know, when you're doing things fast, and you're talking about speed, Mach, and G-forces, and all that other crap, man, you don't have a whole lot of time to make a mistake. And, you know, it is what it is. But I've got some, man, there's so many stinking times that oh, there's Mr. T out there. There's so many times that, where's Buddy Boy? Oh, he's over here. I'll let you guys say hi to Buddy Boy, too. Buddy Boy! Say hi to YouTubies! Oh, he answered his dad. He's a good boy. There's old Matter T! Whatever, Dad. Bring me some food. Shut up. Alright, so I'll put another coat on that. I'll let that dry for a good hour or so. And then stick another coat on that and stick them back on the AK. That's on my Chinese Norinco AK. That's not the one where all my guns got lost in a boating accuracy. That's a different one. Actually, I don't even think this is my AK. I think I'm working on it for a neighbor. Anyway, we'll end that there.